Hey guys, so today's topic is something that's pretty near and dear to me, and I just thought of sharing it with everyone. Also, very curious to hear your own perspectives about it, and yeah, just like wanted to share and wanted to get feedback from you, and open the conversation, open the forum on this. So, we're going to be talking about meditation today. And yeah, so meditation is actually a big, I hope I can make it more of a consistent part of my lifestyle. But it has been a big part of my life for a while. And I started meditating when I was 23 years old. That's 7 years ago. And initially, when I started to practice, it all began from a breakup that I had at that time. And yeah, I was 23 years old, fell in love for the first time, and had all these feelings that I didn't know what to do about. And I was just in a lot of pain for a while, and that's normal. That's what breakups entail. And I think because I was young and it was my first time falling in love. It was a pretty intense experience for me. And actually went to Italy for a summer, and I stayed in this city by the beach called Trieste. If you've not been there, I really recommend you visit it because it's beautiful. It's by a beach, not the Italy that you might have typically seen or been to. It's not this. It's not south of Italy. It's not or even the middle of Italy. It's not Rome, and it's not Sicily. It's got a very different feel and vibe to it. But yeah, check it out. Trieste is the name. But anyway, back to the topic. Yeah, so I was in Trieste, and trying to do some research and also heal from my breakup. And I didn't know what to do with all my feelings, to be honest with you. So I decided to sort of meditate, to calm my mind, and to find some relief and relaxation. So yeah, I simply started off my day, would watch a yoga video on YouTube for an hour, and after doing my yoga, I would just sit down in silence, for as long as I wanted. Um, could be 15 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half. There was really no, I didn't have a time limit. I would just sit until I felt good. Yeah, so that was the start of my practice because I did yoga almost every morning, and I would just sit down in silence after that. And honestly, I don't think I've ever meditated seriously in my life up until that point. And even then, I really didn't know how to meditate or what to do. But I remember, because my family is actually a little bit spiritual and religious. My mom loves to read and all kinds of spiritual books. And yeah, in my house, we do have an array of books from different authors, primarily grounded in a more Hindu or Buddhist faith. And there was one of the books that I remember reading as a child, just flipping through, not seriously being a scholar of it. But yeah, in my free time when I was growing up in Malaysia in my house, I loved to read, and whatever books were lying around, especially the spiritual topics, it really did catch my eye because I loved how abstract and deep the teachings were, and I think that resonated with me as a physicist as well. We kind of go into the nature of reality and look at things in a very abstract way, and spirituality was, I think, for me, it was one of the closest things I could find in the way that they relate concepts about nature of the world and the nature of ourselves and consciousness. So just the nature of reality, right? But like approaching it from a way that takes away all of the surface level fluff, right? Or surface level variety, and just goes into the essence of things. So spirituality does have that in common with physics, especially when you go into the deeper realms of physics like quantum physics or larger scale physics, cosmology for instance. But yeah, so I would spend my time flipping through her books, reading them. And one of the books that we had in my house was called Who Am I? And it was the teachings of a guru in India. And if you want to know his name or find out more about him, feel free to ask me. But yeah, so the teaching was Who Am I? And it was a part of self-inquiry, direct self-inquiry. So the teaching in that book was basically to sit down in meditation and ask yourself, who am I? Meditate on the question of who am I? So, while I was in Trieste trying to calm myself down, and get rid of all the anxiety I was having post breakup, and yeah, honestly, that was the beginning of my journey. Sounds trivial, but yeah, that was when I actually wanted to find a way to overcome my pain. And yeah, so I was sitting in Trieste after yoga, closing my eyes, trying to meditate, and the thought popped into my mind of asking myself, who am I? And maybe because it was the title of the book was called Who Am I remembered, oh yeah, you can ask yourself, who am I? And try to meditate on that question. And I did that for about 2 weeks straight. Occasionally I would skip some days, but I would say 5 days a week I was sitting down in meditation and asking myself mentally. At first it was all going up in my mind at first, who am I? And I wanted, as I was asking the question, I wasn't, because I really didn't have an interest that deeply of knowing who am I. I thought it was the way to meditate, and I needed some sort of guideline, I guess, in the beginning. As a beginner to meditate, I didn't just know how to sit with my being in stillness and silence. So asking myself, who am I, mentally at first, eventually it kind of sunk into my being. And I got, in that time period of being in Italy, I actually got deeply interested in knowing who am I, as it was just initially just a question in my mind, not a very deep level question or even a thought that I had in mind when I began my meditation practice, just a way to begin the process of meditation. So as I began to think in my being, after I would say around 2-3 weeks, I actually had some deeper, first of all, let me say I could meditate for longer periods, about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And my experiences began to become deeper to the core of my being. And I eventually learned and experienced deeper truths about who I really am. And let me just give you Let me just entice you with the knowledge that if you start meditating and if you simply ask yourself, who am I? Do it for some time, you might very well realize some important and very deep truths about who you really are. So you just have to stick to it for a while. And maybe you don't even need to meditate to even know who you are. Maybe you might just be trying to recover from a hard experience in life. But yeah, it's like try it out, give it a go. Just this is called the path of direct inquiry. So you are just asking yourself, who am I? And see what it brings out up for you, and see what you soon realize. So yeah, I had some deeper realizations after 2 or 3 weeks, and it was very strong, very profound, and I kind of didn't know how to integrate, right? The realizations I had through meditation, which spoke to me about my being and my life as at that time I was a student, a daughter, a girl, Brinda, still am Brinda, but once you know who you are, you realize, oh, maybe I don't even have a name, right? So I couldn't integrate both aspects of who I knew I was at the deepest level and who I was on the surface. And actually at that time I was doing my bachelor's in physics at MIT, and I used to believe that physics was the end all be all. But yeah, I soon realized after the meditation that consciousness is actually the end all be all, not physics. And science does have its limitations. And yeah, I began to have my first experience of pure consciousness, and I was very taken up by that at that time because it was so true. It was so true and refreshing and real. And if you're a seeker of truth, and I think with me, I was very interested in quantum physics at that time. And I was interested in it because I was actually I felt that physics could take me closer towards understanding the nature of reality. And the closest thing in physics, or the closest field within physics that was touching the nature of reality, was quantum physics, right? But then I realized that actually, sometimes it's a lot of math and formulas and equations in quantum. And maybe the underlying substrate of the universe is just consciousness. I don't know if an equation can represent consciousness, but perhaps at the bottom of it all, the one, the all, the everything, the God, if you like to call it that, the source. Maybe the answer is consciousness. And so that was just my realizations at that time. And yeah, so I had a hard time integrating both aspects of myself, the scientist in me, or the not the scientist, but me as a person, right? Like the personality of who I thought I was and who I knew myself to be at that time. And then I just like it was I developed, I don't know if I should say this, but sometimes when you meditate, you kind of awaken certain abilities within yourself, and I was able to just open my mind and feel peaceful, blissful, just really good, for a while. It was like getting a hit of a drug or something. Like it was just like poof, all the problems go away and you're in space and floating and happy. Yeah, so things like that can happen to you if you meditate, and maybe if you like also experience deeper truths about yourself. Yeah, so just one of the things that happen, but a lot of things will happen over the course of one's life. And I'm sure this experience of peace and bliss and happiness is truly who we are on the inside, and I'm not sure if I should be talking about this, but I feel like it is the essence of who we are. So why not bring it out to the front? I mean, we all should be seeking that which is within us, and that which is true and pure. And the truth is, we are bliss, love, happiness, peace, compassion. We are all those beautiful qualities, right? Yeah, so so after that, I went through a year of kind of navigating all this new energetics, and I couldn't handle it. Actually, I couldn't really manage the energetics of it all, and I decided to just stop meditating for as long as I could. And in fact, in Malaysia, I come from a family where we have an altar in our house, just a little altar with the gods and goddesses, and we do a prayer. So I even had to like cut back on the depth of prayer and meditation. It was all temporary, but at that time I didn't know how long I had to do it for, because you kind of you can get too it's like a new energetic system in your body that maybe your physical body is not really used to. So it was just like a phase in my life, and then I stopped. And I think I stopped for quite a while, up until 3 years ago, when I started meditating again. And I think because I took a long break from it, I felt a bit braver about going in and not getting in a whole funk of different kinds of, I guess I would say, energies and insights playing up in your body. But yeah, so I got back to it 3 years ago, and also I was studying for my quals for my PhD. So that quals are like the exams that you take in your second year in your program, and if you pass it, you get to continue and finish up your PhD. And if you do not pass your quals, then you come out with a master's degree. So I was studying for my quals, again, another very stressful time in my life. And yeah, I was feeling super stressed. I was doing a lot of things. I was working out 6 days a week, twice a week, waking up at 4:45 a.m. to do everything, to journal, to even start my workouts, and then to make myself a breakfast, and then work really intensely to prepare for my quals. So I was on this track for about 6 months, and at that time meditation came back to me as just a way to take breaks between my studies and just catch a breath to just to like sit down in peace and enjoy the breathing, where you're not thinking about anything for a while, and you get to feel like a little breeze in your skin, or some cold air, or hear the crickets, just space from all the busyness that was surrounding me. Yeah, so started again meditate everything, and it was going well, and nothing too chaotic was happening. um, Kept up the practice for a while, and then once I passed my quals, I was in more of a celebratory mood, and then I just kind of let go of my practice, then slowed down on the meditation. And then recently, starting from, I would say, March this year, I was also finishing up my PhD now, like the whole of my thesis, and writing up my thesis. So again, another very stressful period, and this was honestly one of the most challenging periods of my life. Not only for my PhD, but a few things were going on, and yeah, I went back to um, meditating to reset my system. Honestly, I was going through a pretty bad funk, and I'm restating again, it wasn't just my PhD, and I didn't know what to do. Like I was feeling pretty bad for a while, and yeah, I decided, okay, I think I am at my wit's end. I've tried everything. I've been going out, I've been seeing my friends, I've been socializing. I've been doing a lot. I've been getting my work done, I've been working out. I've been trying my best to just feel happy, but I've just been grabbing at all these external things, looking for peace and happiness and joy, and it just wasn't working. And in fact, once I would go out and have fun, and then I would take a walk home after maybe a day out, going to some parties or whatever, and I would just feel like bad again. Yeah, but okay, I'll say it here. Yeah, I was also going through. Well, I'll not say it here. But let's just say that things were not going too well, and yeah, I started meditating again to heal my body, and I didn't really know what to expect, because one thing you learn through meditation is that experiences that you may have had in the past, different realizations, they really may not happen again. It could belong to that time and space, and a lot of things I've experienced in my meditations, I could never actually capture or relive those experiences again. And it's kind of unfortunate, because sometimes I yearn to feel what I felt many years ago, and to have that knowing once more, but I could never recapture some states that I've been in. So again, I didn't really know what to expect, and just went into my meditation and started practicing. And honestly, over time, I realized that, oh my god, it was so freaking good. Seriously. And this time I kind of tried a different technique, because I really wanted to like feel better, and I knew it. So I would just imagine this beautiful like ocean, because I love the ocean, and you see this crisp blue waves right on the top of the ocean, with the sunlight reflecting on it. How it's just so crisp and blue, and it's got golden sparkles on it. It's got this white foam. It's very like clear blue water, yeah, under the sun. And I would just imagine that flowing into my body, yeah, flowing into my spine, my body, my shoulders, my arms, my head. I would imagine all my worries, all my problems, all my stress, all my darkness and my shadows flowing out of my body. And like I would imagine it to be like a murky, swampy, greenish, dark brown river. I would just imagine all of that just flowing out of my body. And then I would imagine the clear, blue, bright, sparkling ocean water flowing into my body again. And all of the murky, swampy water with all my negativity and sadness and worry just leaving my body. And that practice, which I kind of developed intuitively, was so powerful. It was amazing. It was the only thing that got me out of my funk. And I've been trying to get out of this funk for a while. I think it was about 2 or 3 months. I instantly felt better after doing that. And I would just wake up and every day and start my mornings with this visual, I would just close my mind, shut off the outside world, meditate for a while, and just being in stillness and silence, and then perform this not energy, but this water running stream within my body. And I felt so much better, so empowered, so energized, clear-headed, happy. It was the most healing thing I could have done for myself. And I did it for a week, and I remember that so my housemate left in that week to travel, and when she came back, I was just jumping up and down with joy, telling her, I figured it out. I'm so happy, and I did it. I did it for myself. I didn't do anything else. I didn't go to. There's a lot of things one may use to escape one's problems, substances. A lot of recreational activities. Right, a lot of things. But I just went back to meditation, and it helped so much. And I kept up that practice up until I defended. So I finished writing my thesis, and then I defended. And after my defense, I was just partying. As one should. After your PhD, you should celebrate the end and all of that hard work. So after my defense, I was just having a good time and having a ball and going out and having fun and dancing and seeing all my friends and just being a ball of fun for a while. And I keep seeing this pattern repeating itself. Now that we've spoken about it, I feel like even before my quals, meditating. Meditating. When I finished defending, it all dwindled. Before my thesis, meditating. Once I finished that, practice has just sort of dwindled. And so I keep seeing this pattern in my life, and basically the pattern is whenever I'm having a hard, challenging time, potentially filled with sadness, I will usually go into meditation, and I am able to go into a deep states of meditation in such times. And when those times are over, and when life becomes a bit easier and better, I lose touch with my practice. And first of all, saying this out loud has made me realize that life is a cycle of up and downs. I've had so many downs and so many ups have followed that. So it's interesting to note that polarity that everyone talks about, right? Like bad times don't last forever, and good times will not last forever too. And there's always a rainbow at the end of the storm. That is actually true. It's been a truth in my life, a rainbow at the end of the storm. But it looks like I only meditate when it's stormy out, not when there's a rainbow, because I'm just jumping up and down with joy. And maybe that's the way it should be, maybe I shouldn't be like trying to push myself to meditate too much when I'm in that rainbow state of my life. But at the same time, I actually wanted to make this video because I really don't know how to stabilize my practice naturally. I found it very natural to meditate in those challenging times, but I'm finding it a bit hard to develop consistency that is natural when I am on the up end of my life. So yeah, what I'm doing right now is, I'm away in Bali, and I've taken about I'm here for a month, and I've taken the first 2 weeks of my stay here to explore the island and live all the new things in Bali for a while. But these last 2 weeks of my stay here, I'm really trying to just slow down and to catch up on rest and let my body process all the things that it's been through in this last year. And it's at this last 2 weeks that I'm consciously actually having to put an effort to meditate more. And I'm saying put an effort because I found it more effortless, to meditate when I was going through those challenging times. But now I actually have to put in the effort to stop life for a while, stop my mind for a while, and sit down in silence and to still myself and my being. So that's where I'm at right now. I have been waking up in the mornings and doing a little bit of meditation, and then at night, at least for the last 3 days, I've been also trying to meditate at night after I shower. And I also wake up in the morning, take a shower, and then meditate. A lot of people say, I don't know if you know this guy, his name is Michael Beckwith, and I think more than just him. A lot of people quote that meditation is like taking an internal shower for your soul. So you show up to the day when you go to work or when you go to university or whatever. You show up to the day, you usually take a shower, and then you show up for your day, So just like that, like with your soul, before you show up for yourself in your day, you take an internal shower, you cleanse it, right, with your meditation. So, I'm trying to, I guess, kind of fits with taking a shower first, physically, and then sitting down and doing my meditation after that. So yeah, it was kind of a long video. I didn't expect it to go so far. But tell me if you have thoughts on your practice, on deepening it, and if you concur with me that sometimes meditation is easier when you're going through a bit of a pickle in life. And I will keep you updated with my practice. I'm going to keep at this, doing the meditations in the morning and at the night. Let me give it a few more weeks, and I'll keep you posted on how I feel. Alright guys, take it easy.